This week's Nifty Gifties on F5 Live Refreshing Technology is proudly powered by the Microsoft Store. Whether you're looking for a new laptop, tablet, Xbox, games, or a whole lot more, you can get them at the Microsoft Store. Remember, current students, faculty, parents, and active military can save up to 10% off almost everything. To browse the products and learn more about the discounts, you can go to f5live.tv/Microsoft. All right, so we have talked for years now about the Apple App Store in particular, but Google as well, and their 30% tax on apps that are published through the store. If you're not aware, anytime you make a purchase of anything in-app, outside of shopping apps, because there is currently been an exception. So when you go to Amazon and things like that, you've got your third-party payments. Everybody else is required to run their payment through the App Store or Google Play, and they charge a 30% commission. If you think the 25 cents plus 3% that Square charges you is a lot, you're in a great position. So Epic Games decided to initiate a little bit of a war. They published Fortnite to the iOS store with an alternate payment method hidden that they turned on after Apple had approved the app update. Apple immediately removed the app from the store, which set off a prolonged legal battle. All of this started, I think, in 2022. Here we are in 2025. It has caused governments across the world to look into Apple's practices, whether or not they're monopolistic, and several countries have come to the conclusion that yes, it does appear that Apple's behavior does constitute a monopoly because it is a controlled environment with no competition. And so the US has begun to require Apple allow developers to use third-party payment systems. The EU has required Apple to use third-party payment systems and to allow third-party app stores, in addition to the reason why the iPhone 16 has a USB-C port on it instead of a Lightning port. Even Brazil has given a deadline on NFC payments and all kinds of other things. So countries across the world, governments across the world have started to look into Apple, what they're up to, and have deemed them to be the problem. So Epic this week submitted an update for Fortnite to the iOS store, only to not hear back. They didn't get a rejection. They just got nothing. So they tried again. Why not? I think it was 48 or 72 hours later, they tried again. No approval, no rejection, just silence. And this comes after a court order to allow third-party payment systems. And that was theoretically Apple's only contention with Epic. Now, of course, we know that there's more than that because there was a lawsuit. Apple and Epic theoretically do still have legal issues across the globe in many jurisdictions. There's appeals still running here in the US. So Apple and Epic are not friends. Apple has threatened to remove Epic's developer account in the past, and that didn't go well. So yeah, overall, this has been a truly fascinating story. We thought that a court order in the US to allow third-party payments would be the end of it for, at least for now. But it seems like Apple's just going, nah, it's fine. We're just going to keep going.
I mean, I guess there's an interesting question, which is, can a regulatory body force Apple to accept someone into its store? Like,
That's
They can
interesting.
force a policy change, but can they force acceptance of an app?
So there was there was a court battle in the early days with Apple and Google when Google tried to get the Google Voice app into the App Store, and Apple denied it, claiming it replicated native features, which was bonkers and was not a requirement in the App Store policies. And a court did say that Apple had violated their own policies. And Google Voice was allowed into the App Store. And then there was a dictionary that also sued Apple because Apple said that the dictionary wasn't allowed in the App Store because it contained naughty words. And the dictionary also won their case. So it sounds like maybe, but maybe only if they violate their own policy, or if the policy in question is laughable, which seemed to be the case with the dictionary. The dictionary contains naughty words. Of course it does. It's a dictionary. It contains
Right.
all the
Yeah.
words.
I mean,
But I do feel I do feel like there have been at least two cases in the past that we've even discussed on the show. I think both of those were pre you joining the show at all, but they were really early on, like '08 and '09 or something like that. But that does create precedent in the court system to allow it, though. So I don't know. It is a good question.
yeah. I mean, I guess they have to provide an explanation for
Yeah,
why they
just
rejected it, and it
well,
has to meet some rule.
they haven't rejected it. As of last I saw, they hadn't rejected it. They just hadn't approved it, which is its own weird thing. Because I have I have submitted many things to app stores. I've seen complicated business applications get approved within hours. I mean, yes, okay, Fortnite is a complicated game, but I've seen game updates go through in a day. So I don't know. It it seems suspicious to me. I guess that's the whole thing here. It seems suspicious and confusing, as if they are actively trying uh, to defy this court order, which doesn't seem like a great idea, especially right now when big tech across the board is under massive scrutiny. It seems like a bad idea to anger the courts.
I mean, what are they going to do about it? What are the courts going to do about it? I mean, they're going to impose a fine.
Fair. I can't imagine that they're gonna
Maybe
send the
Maybe Apple is weighing whether it's worth the fine.
yeah. I can't imagine they're gonna send the FBI to go get Tim Cook.
Right. So what are they
Although it
going
would
to
be a
do?
heck of a
Right.
headline.
Right. I mean, I don't know. I don't foresee I don't foresee it being a major problem for Apple. So, I mean, they could do it just by delaying it indefinitely, although at a certain point you would have to think, uh, you know, you would have to think that they could get some relief in court, but
Yeah.
who knows?
It's definitely interesting. I was checking earlier today just to see, and I still don't see a listing. So I mean, th- this has been like the Apple equivalent of the Google Oracle case, where by them planting their heels in the ground, they have guaranteed bigger changes than they would have ever wanted. Because I mean, this is the reason why why third-party app stores are allowed in the EU now. If they had just made an exception, or allowed you to apply for an exception, just moved on, we probably wouldn't have third-party app stores on iOS in the EU. They sometimes just digging your heels in goes the wrong way for you, and it definitely feels like that's where we are here. Clearly, this is not the end of this story. We will continue following it for as long as this bizarre saga goes. I will just warn you that the Google Oracle case went for, I think, 11 years, so there's no telling, and ended up in the Supreme Court. There's no telling exactly what this is all going to look like, but we will definitely keep following it, because it's probably as close to a soap opera as we get in the tech industry. Hello, YouTube. Thanks for watching, and I hope you enjoyed this episode of F5 Live Refreshing Technology. If you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, and of course hit the notification bell, because we know that subscriptions don't mean much on YouTube anymore. If you've got topics that you'd like us to talk about in the future, please comment them down below. And if you'd like to not follow us on YouTube, there's lots of ways that you can follow along with our content by going to plughitslive.com/subscribe. There you'll see all of our shows and all of the ways that you can watch, listen, and follow along.